Never let a good crisis go to waste. Tony Robbins. In every era of human history, crisis has been a catalyst for change. Pandemics have reinvented industries, recessions have reset financial empires, and personal tragedies have awakened individual greatness. But while some crumble under pressure, others rise stronger, wiser, more driven. What makes the difference? Tony Robbins, a man who spent decades studying the patterns of human success, often says, "Never let a good crisis go to waste." These words are not just a motivational quip, a strategy for transformation. Entrepreneurs, business owners, and investors, the very people who shape the economy, must learn to embrace this truth. Because no matter the external chaos, every crisis hides within it a seed of opportunity, a hidden advantage, a path to extraordinary growth, but only if you're willing to see it. In this article, we'll explore how to shift your perspective from fear to power. We'll dig deep into the anatomy of a crisis and how to convert breakdowns into breakthroughs. And we'll remind you why adversity, when used correctly, becomes your greatest competitive edge. The crisis illusion. To most people, a crisis means danger. It's an alarm, a red light, a signal to retreat, protect, wait. And that's not entirely irrational. The brain is designed to detect threats and ensure survival. But survival mode is very different from growth mode. And herein lies the trap. When uncertainty hits, whether it's a market crash, a supply chain failure, or a public scandal, the average entrepreneur reacts. They cut costs. They freeze decisions. They operate from scarcity. This fear-driven behavior rarely produces innovation. It leads to stagnation, missed chances, sometimes even collapse. But here's the paradox. Some of the greatest businesses and fortunes in history were born in the middle of crises. Airbnb during the 2008 recession, Uber in the aftermath of the financial crash, Amazon scaling through the dot-com bust. These companies didn't wait for the storm to pass. They built inside the storm. The reason is simple. When others pull back, visionaries push forward. When competitors pause, leaders act. Because every disruption breaks patterns, and in broken patterns, new doors open. Why crisis is the greatest filter of greatness. Pressure reveals truth. That's why crisis is so powerful. It strips away the fluff. It shows you what's working and what's weak. It forces clarity, discipline, focus, and it eliminates the luxury of delay. In a comfortable environment, it's easy to hide behind excuses. The economy is stable, the cash flow is steady, the growth is good enough. But when the pressure hits, when the clients cancel, the market turns, or the media attacks who you are, becomes crystal clear. Your leadership is tested, your character is exposed, and your systems are stress tested. Tony Robbins teaches that pain is a signal, not a punishment. It's feedback. It's a gift in disguise. When used with wisdom, pain can trigger reinvention. It can light a fire that complacency never will, but only if you ask the right questions. What can I learn from this? What is this crisis trying to show me? What is the opportunity hidden inside this pain? The truth is, everyone will face a crisis. Few will transform through it, and even fewer will grow because of it. The psychology of turning crisis into power. If you want to thrive in a crisis, it begins with mastering your mind. Because the external world is only as chaotic as your internal world allows. In the same situation, one person panics while another finds peace. One person blames, the other takes responsibility. One sees loss, the other sees leverage. So what separates them? Beliefs, focus, language. Let's break it down. 1. Beliefs. Your beliefs shape your interpretation of every event. If you believe a crisis is a death sentence, your brain will find evidence to support that. But if you believe a crisis is a sacred opportunity to grow, to pivot, to expand, suddenly, you activate creativity. You switch from victim to visionary. Tony often says, the quality of your life is determined by the quality of your beliefs. So what do you believe about adversity? About uncertainty? About your own power to shape your future no matter what? 2. Focus. Where focus goes, energy flows. Most people focus on what's missing, what's wrong, what's out of their control. But leaders focus on what they can do, what's still working, what's possible. They don't ignore reality, they transform it with strategic attention. 3. Language. Are you telling yourself it's a disaster, a nightmare, a collapse? Or are you calling it a challenge, a reset, a turning point? Language is not just descriptive, it's generative. It changes your emotional chemistry. Use words that empower you, not paralyze you. Tactical strategies for entrepreneurs in times of crisis. While mindset is the foundation, execution is where growth happens. So let's talk strategy. Here are powerful moves that entrepreneurs, business owners, and investors can make during a crisis to come out stronger than ever. 1. Reevaluate your business model. Crisis exposes inefficiencies. Take advantage of this clarity. What parts of your business are outdated, overpriced, or overly complicated? What can be automated, digitized, or simplified? Ask, if I were starting my business from scratch today, what would I keep? What would I eliminate? Customer relationships. Your clients are going through the crisis too. This is your chance to become their hero. Over-deliver, listen deeply, solve problems that truly matter. People remember how you showed up during the hard times. Empathy becomes your competitive advantage. 3. Innovate boldly. In crisis, the rules change. What wasn't possible before may be urgent now. Be willing to experiment, test new offers, launch new platforms, pivot your messaging, create digital alternatives, offer tiered pricing, partner with complementary businesses. The best ideas are often born under pressure. 4. Optimize your financial resilience. Cut the fat, not the muscle. Eliminate waste, but protect what generates income. Build liquidity. Renegotiate contracts. Create emergency reserves. Invest wisely. Look for distressed assets with long-term upside. Smart investors love crises because prices fall and opportunities rise. 5. Double down on leadership. Your team is watching you. If you panic, they collapse. But if you stay grounded, transparent, and decisive, they rise with you. Communicate constantly. Share your vision. Be real. Be human. But also be bold. Crisis makes or breaks culture. It exposes weak leadership and amplifies great leadership. Real examples. Crisis as the birthplace of innovation. FedEx started during the 1970s oil crisis. Everyone said it would fail. Today it's a logistics empire. Apple almost collapsed in the 1990s. Steve Jobs returned during the company's darkest days and rebuilt it from crisis to global domination. General Motors filed for bankruptcy in 2009 and reinvented its operations for the electric era. Zoom wasn't a household name until the pandemic, but when the world shut down, it became the default platform for connection. What made these companies thrive? Not luck, not perfect conditions, but leadership, speed. Here's what separates those who shrink in crisis from those who scale. They expect disruption. They don't fear it, they prepare for competition. They value growth over comfort. They take ownership, goal of control, and expand it with bold action. Tony Robbins calls this the unshakable mindset. It's a state of inner certainty not because the world is stable, but because you are. You've trained your mind. You've conditioned your nervous system. You've built rituals that anchor your focus. And because of that, chaos doesn't control you. You control how you move through it. The crisis that awakens you. Sometimes the biggest crisis isn't external, it's internal. Burnout, identity loss, lack of meaning. These invisible crises are just as powerful, and sometimes even more dangerous, because they're easy to ignore. But what if you saw even those as gifts? Tony often shares that his own journey began not with success, but with hunger. Literally, he had no money, no resources, but he had a decision, a commitment, a refusal to let his pain define his path. And from that crisis was born a mission that changed millions of lives. So ask yourself, what is life trying to teach me right now? What needs to end so something better can begin? Who do I need to become in order to lead in this season? Every crisis is a mirror. It reflects who you are. But more importantly, it reveals who you could be if you dared to become it. Final reflections. A good crisis will destroy weak businesses, but it will elevate those who are ready. It will wipe out those who wait, but it will reward those who act. You don't have to enjoy the crisis, but you must respect it, because it is one of life. It brings truth. It brings the raw materials of transformation. Never forget, nothing grows without pressure. No diamond forms without heat. No tree strengthens without wind. And no leader becomes great without adversity. So the next time you face a storm, whether it's economic, emotional, or existential, remember Tony Robbins' words: never let a good crisis go to waste. Because this isn't the end of your story. It's the page where the plot twists. It's the chapter where the hero awakens. And it's the moment that will become your testimony if you choose to rise. If this message resonated with you, don't let it sit. Act, reflect, share. The world needs more entrepreneurs, more leaders who are awake. Subscribe to this channel for more insights like this. Leave a comment: what crisis are you transforming right now? Hit like if this message gave you a breakthrough. And share this video with someone who needs to hear it today. Let's build a world where every crisis creates a leader, and every challenge becomes a stepping stone to greatness. You were built for this.